Hi, Peter. I cannot see anybody. Anybody else on? I know I like jumped on the wrong live stream, so this will be interesting. Like jumped on the wrong live stream, so this will be interesting. Like jumped on the wrong live stream, so this will be interesting. Like jumped on the wrong live. Can you guys hear me talking in the background? This is very interesting. Okay, how's everybody? I'm not used to YouTube lives because they're very different than TikTok lives, Instagram lives, so you know, bear with me. I'm still learning the technology. I have my laptop open. I know like I had the original one set, but like for some reason I don't know I don't know how to stream it from my computer. I need to download some software. Are you going to wait a few more minutes to jump in? Probably. I mean, you can ask a question if you want to. What's everyone been up to? Like, what's going on in your reality? What are your... I'm not sitting well. What's up with everybody? Like, what are you guys doing on a Monday night? It's still kind of early. Might have to schedule this for 8:30. Nobody? Everybody wants to be quiet? It's always so interesting. No? Nobody has a question? This happened last time. Like everyone was so shy. Anyone ever had kombucha? Like kombucha is the best, by the way. Okay. Go for it. I mean, like literally, it's a small group of us today, so it's cool. I can answer more of your questions, right? Okay, absolutely. Quick story. My neighbor won the Florida Lotto. Wow, for 26 mil before he gave me a book and said that's how I did it. Is that how you learned about law of assumption? Through your neighbor? That is like fucking awesome. The guy won 26 million. Wow. That's proves to you that anything's possible, if you ask me. Before he left, he gave me a book and said, this is how I did it. Been trying to manifest something like he did, a financial breakthrough. So you got to remember, Peter, like not everybody. One thing I want all of you to consider and think about too, which I think is very crucial and very important. You're not all the same people, not meaning you can't do what he did, but your process is going to be a lot different than his. Do you see what I'm saying? Because we don't have the same experiences or the same belief systems. So you haven't been through the same things that your neighbor has, but that's your freaking proof. Like, how many people do you know that actually win $26 million? Like, insanity. That's awesome though. Super cool. Yeah, I gotta learn how to do this from the laptop. I think people are confused maybe. Is it confusing when you come to the YouTube? The YouTube. I don't know if, for some reason the YouTube's a bit slower, I feel like. Is there anything else anyone wants to ask other than I want to have a financial breakthrough? I mean, I can talk a bit. Everybody wanted a Monday live. He left the US and went back to his country because it's cheaper. Smart choice. I would do that too. I'm actually debating moving. My family's from Greece, and I'm kind of thinking about moving there because we have assets there, and the cost of living in Greece is like, I'm not joking you, like a fourth of what it is here. Not that like I can't afford to live here, it's just like I live like a freaking like multi-millionaire out there, so I'm like, I think about it too. That's smart though that he did that. But I've been stuck maybe thinking of how it's coming. I see, like, here's the thing, I don't know what you're doing. So he left the US and went back to his country because it's cheaper, but I have been stuck. So the fact that you think you're stuck is a limitation. So you need to get that out of your head. You need to believe that everything's always like flowing to you, that everything's always working out for you, right? Like, you gotta remember, not everyone's processes are the same, but you just said it here, I'm stuck, right? So you gotta start believing that it's possible for you. My SP started to contact me. That's awesome. Y'all, I love all of you, but sometimes some of you will get so down on yourselves. It's like, oh, my SP's finally back in my life after a year, but my money situation isn't working. I mean, if you're still freaking afloat, that's proof that the law works. So what you need to do, what you did with your SP and apply that to money, okay? The truth is, the two parts of people's lives that people struggle with the most, at least from what I see, is love and money. But it can also manifest into health too. So it's a combination of a lot of different things. Listen, like, so many people are so quick to be down on themselves. It's like, I don't get it. Like, the fact that you saw movement, you should be celebrating that shit. Like, they're finally starting to contact you, and I get it that you want the money, but the money will come. Like, that's your fucking proof. Be like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna get the money. Like, SP came back to me, is now contacting me. So that's the next thing. Do you see what I'm saying? It's really important that you're like reminding yourself of how powerful you are. Like, people forget this every day. Like, what's something I recently manifested? A lot of people don't know this, but I don't care if like, I manifested a grant to go back to school because like I have a very heavy marketing background and a lot of people don't know that. And I was debating like dipping my, toe back into the marketing pool and stuff. And I realized, because I've been out of the game since COVID, right? That was when I lost my job and things changed and whatever. I like applied for a grant and I got approved, and I approved it like really fast, and it was not looking like things were going to go in my odds. And I'm now going to a very prestigious school. And the marketing can actually help me in my business. It can help me so I can help people with marketing. I also want to open up an agency probably at some point. And it's like, anything's possible. Like, there was a point, because the grant had to be done by a certain time. And I remember just thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, screw it. This doesn't look like it's going to work out, right? But I didn't care. I was like, no, I'm going to get it. It's going to all work out. I'm going to go to the school that I want. I'm going to get this grant fully paid for. Like, because there were like documents that needed to be done. And like the lady helping me with it was just like, I don't know if we're going to have everything done. I'm like, you have everything. It's going to work out, right? Like, and in the beginning, it did not look good. We're talking like circumstances looked really bleak to the point where you would have never thought that I would have gotten a grant. Wow, I look so pasty. I need to add some highlights into my hair. I think I'm gonna go back blonde. Okay, enough about me. Let's jump into this and get into questions. I've been to Athens. It's beautiful there. It is. I visualize living in my new home and her coming over and playing that scene a lot. That's awesome. Remember, though, to embody in the state that you're already together or you're married or whatever you're trying to manifest, because you might manifest that scene, but you might not manifest the commitment that you want. This is why I tell people to be really specific on what they want. Act as if it's already in that embodiment. Because if you forget, let's say you just manifest a scene with your specific person coming over to your house, right? Or you guys hanging out. If you don't imply that you're married or in a relationship, that's exactly what you're going to manifest. So a few years ago, this was before I knew Neville, but I knew you could manifest specific people, and I had done it multiple times. And I had heard about Neville's name like a few times. So me and my boyfriend at the time had broken up, and I manifested him back. He was back in my life, and it looked really bad. Like, meaning like there was a point where he wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't answer the phone, and I just left him alone, and I just like kind of worked on myself for a bit because I knew that my energy was all whack. And I did intuitively know that if I was like all over the place, it wasn't gonna work, right? So I took the time, I like shifted my energy, and then I finally reached out to him because he had some of my stuff. And I manifested him back, and we were friends for a while, meaning I couldn't get past that limitation. Like, I didn't think I could manifest a relationship with him, and that's all I could. Like, we would hang out. It was very clear he cared about me. He would flirt with me, but like, that's it, right? The crazy part is, I remember I started to learn about Neville like a few months like before I like really manifested him back, like kind of seeing each other. And here's the crazy part. I created a scene in my mind, I lived in the end for 2 months. I will get to your questions. I see them. I just want to finish the story. So for 2 months, I'm living in the end, right? I am embodying the scene that I'm sleeping over at his house, because to me that meant we were together, right? Like he's cuddling me, we're in bed, right? So I just imagine him looking at me and smiling and kissing me, like, you know, like we're happy. So I manifested that scene within like just a couple weeks, but we were not together. We were actually still friends. We did end up kissing that morning, and that kind of started like us kind of re-seeing each other, but we were not officially in a relationship. Be specific as F in your visual scenes. You need to say we're in a relationship, we're happily married, right? Like, no, they're completely loyal to me. I am their girlfriend, I am their boyfriend, I am their fiance, whatever it is. I am the mother of their children. Be specific as F. Okay, I can't stress that I can't stress that enough is the best way to say it. How to feel enough, Maria? Like, I feel like I just don't feel worthy of SP or anything. Wish I was skilled, talented. Okay, so I get it. Like, here's the thing. When you're in that state, it can feel so overwhelming, and you can feel like a loser, like nothing's ever gonna work for you, like, fuck, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, look, they're not back yet. I get it. But that's because you put your priority on your specific person and not on you, okay? There is nothing wrong with thinking about your specific person, but you really need to shift the focus on you. This is where coaches tell you to really work on self-concept and self-love. You know why coaches want you to work on it? Because it shifts you out of that shitty state and gets you into a confident state, gets you in a loving state where things can come to you. This is why they want you to focus on that. So if you're like, I don't know how heavy you're in it, but from what it sounds like, I have a whole video on why manifesting your specific person is keeping you from them. I would take into, I even have like, you can go to the link in my bio. It's not in this video, go to any other video. And I have a podcast on why taking a break is sometimes a good idea. Listen, you don't have to take a longer than a week break, but take some time for yourself. When you're in that kind of state and you're trying to persist in the end with your specific person, but you're in a shitty state, it's like burning the candle at both ends. Have you ever heard that saying? You're taking on too much. So the best thing to do is just drop SP for a little bit, meaning don't forget about them. They're not going anywhere, but take some time and focus on you. What is it that you love doing, NT? Do you like working out? Do you like, I don't know, dancing? Do you like singing? Like, focus on yourself right now for like a week or two and really focus on self-concept and feeling good enough, right? Get yourself into a more stable place and then go to the end and manifest them. It'll be so much easier for you. It's just that when you're trying to like shift out of a shitty state and manifest your specific person, it's like, it's not that you can't do it. Some people can. I'm not saying this is for everyone. It's just an alternative, right? Anytime I felt really burnt out and I felt like things were not working for me, taking a break was like always the solution. You really need to work on embodying a state. So when you get triggered, you need to like recognize what comes up, just allow it to come up, accept that it's there, right? Allow yourself to feel it, but don't feed into the story. And then you need to give yourself what you need. Like, so if you're feeling like, I think you're saying right here, right, not enough, that you're not skilled or talented and not worthy of anything, okay? So you need to work on feeling worthy, you need to work on feeling confident, you need to feel like feeling good enough, and you need to feel like you're skilled and super fucking talented. So for now, for the next 2 weeks, just work on reminding yourself of who you are. I'm the god of my reality, I can have whatever the fuck I want. I'm amazing, I'm a goddess, I'm a god, I'm confident, right? You could just have inner conversations like that, or maybe you could even have an imaginal scene where like you hung out with a friend that you haven't seen in a while and they're like, man, Auntie, you're like glowing, like you look so happy. I've never seen you look so amazing. Like your skin is glowing, you just have all these great things going for yourself. Like you're so confident, like, and you could be thinking in your mind, yeah, I did it. I'm like worthy, I know. And like while they're saying this to you in the imaginal scene, you could be like, I did it. I'm worthy, I know I'm good enough, and I just know that I can do anything. You see what I'm saying? That would help you embody that. Or you could just do affirmations or inner conversations, honestly. Either one would work. I want a job and I am uncertain what I want to work in. Okay. You're welcome, NT. Yeah, like watch that video. So when we're done with the live today, go and watch that video. I'm telling you, it's a great video. I even posted a video called Living in the End, Now What? Like it gives you I think some coaches have done similar videos, but this video step by step tells you how to live in the end, even if you're struggling. Okay, so watch those 2 videos. I want a job and I am uncertain what I want to work in. I just want a stable job, lots of income, ability to travel, nice apartment, but no idea what job to do. Okay, why don't you, if I were you, I would just imagine that you're living in your like dream apartment, because you're saying a lot of things here, right? Like, I want to work and stable job, lot of income, able to travel, nice apartment. So do you want to travel all the time or sometimes? Do you see what I'm saying? Because you could manifest a job that allows you to travel all the time and you make lots of money and you don't even need an apartment. And sometimes living abroad is a lot cheaper than living in the States or wherever. I mean, you can manifest both. The only thing I would say is just imagine an end scene where you're maybe at a resort, like a really luxury resort, or in your dream apartment or home. And imagine that like you could even make it where like you're in your dream home and you're just like, fuck, I did it. I have my dream job. I'm traveling all over the world. I'm happy. I have all this money and life is just magical, right? Like, and that's enough. And you can make a list of what your dream job is, even if you don't know what it's in. A job where they pay for my insurance, a job where they pay for my car, a job where they pay for my home, a job where I have stock shares or whatever. What's that called? You own part of the shares of the company. Profit sharing. I think that's what it's called. I forget. I haven't been in the business world for a minute. Maybe you can imagine that, I don't know, they give you a stipend of money to spend, like maybe they give you a credit card. So when you're traveling, they pay for shit, right? Like, and you have flexibility where you only work 30 hours a week or 25 hours a week and that's enough, and you can make your own hours. And you work with all these super cool people that are into personal development and are open-minded to manifesting, right? Like that alone, like you could just imagine sitting in your dream home, go through some freaking magazines, go find Pinterest, find something that looks like something you would want, put it on a freaking vision board. And some people are really against vision boards, and that's bullshit. I've heard a lot of assumption coaches be like, vision boards are bullshit. No, you're bullshit with your bullshit, with your limiting beliefs. Sorry, I get mad when people tell people like how to manifest. It's your life. So just imagine like yourself, put up a vision board or just like a picture of what would be your dream home. If it's in California, imagine yourself living in Santa Monica, looking over, I don't know, the pier and the beach on some high hill, right? We'll just say that. And imagine you've got a cup of coffee and you're walking out in the morning and you're just like, I did it. Look at my beautiful home. I'm like relaxed. I'm chill. I got everything I fucking wanted. Like, man, I'm traveling the world and like I work, only like 20 hours a week and I'm making like $300K a year. Like, and they pay for everything, this house, they pay for my car, my insurance, right? That alone, and I work with all these cool people and like we're all like-minded and it's just wonderful. That alone is a perfect end scene if you ask me. Okay. All right. There's more on here. I really got into that one. Love that story. Yes, I am super excited. She's making contact after 3 years. That's awesome. And see, that's proof that time does not matter. I've seen people be like, oh, it's been 4 years. I had one guy reach out to me. I'm not going to say, obviously would never say their name, but it was a follower and they were like blowing up my phone, like constantly in my DMs on Insta, on TikTok, everywhere, just complaining about their situation. And I remember like, my whole rule of thumb is you can come on a live and ask a question or you can ask on a video, just please don't DM me, right? Like that's where I kind of like, that's where my, what's that word called? That's like my line, right? Like you gotta respect that. And if you respect that, I will tell you to like back off. And this person was just so stuck in their story that they can't do it. And they were like really, they were trying to get coaching from me. And I was like, listen, if you want coaching, links in the bio. We can hash this out. I will gladfully, thank you, Boundary. I will gladfully help you. But they're like, oh, and they were complaining. They're like, I've spent all this money on coaches. None of this shit's worked. And it's because it's not the coach's fault. Well, it's not the coach's fault. If they're not applying what the coaches have told them, then that's their issue, right? They haven't embodied this state. But I'm not gonna lie, there are some coaches that really don't tell you what to do. I've been on the other side of not such great coaching calls where all you pretty much get is that sounds right, just do that. If you go to a coach and they're not giving you like feedback, like, hey, I think you got these limiting beliefs going on. Hey, let's focus on this instead. If you go to a coach and they don't give you any insight or a game plan, do not go to them again. Don't waste your money. A real coach will sit down with you, will help you see what's going on, will help you see your limiting beliefs, and will help you create a plan and help you understand where you need to change your perspective, okay? But remember, the coach can only tell you what to do. The rest is on you, like applying it and actually doing it. And a lot of you are afraid to give yourself what you want, but that's a conversation for another day. Okay, let's go on this. Love that story. Yes, I am. Okay, happy for you. That's awesome. How do you know when you're in flow state of having the manifestation become reality? What does it feel like? So you're talking about like, do you mean when a bunch of things are manifesting at once, or do you just mean like the flow state of that manifestation? Because that's not really how it works. I know what you mean by flow state, meaning like you really feel in the zone, or maybe you're really embodying a new version of you. That's the flow state. Like it just seems like things are manifesting quicker for you. You don't feel as much resistance. You feel like you've become a different version of you. That I would say is like flow state. You're just more in a state where you're able to receive, okay? Because being in a flow state is a state, right? And being in a state where you don't receive anything, or no flow state, or stuck state is just the same thing. So answer that question, and then I'll answer the other one, okay? I'm here, I'm chatting on my iPad, and I'm watching on my TV. That's awesome. I know I've watched other coaches on my TV too when they've gone live. It's fun to see it that way too. It's interesting. How's everyone? I'm good. How are you? It was an emotional day for me. Mom passed away two years ago today. I'm so sorry. I know that's hard. My mom passed away 7.5 years ago. That's a very tough thing. But knowing anniversaries are hard. Now, you don't have to manifest this, and I'm not here to like pull your strings or anything, but remember, you can revise anything, LaFleur. So I haven't done it yet, but I am manifesting waking up one day and certain loved ones being here. So that is an option you have if you ever want to do that. You don't have to. Some people don't believe it's possible, but remember too, they're just in a different reality. They're just not in this one. Do you see what I'm saying? So anytime you entertain them in your mind, they're with you. That's brought me a lot of solace when I've lost people that I love. So like I said, you don't have to change anything, but it does help to like go to a therapist sometimes and talk to people about that stuff. Grief is a funny thing, but I personally do believe that we manifest everything in a reality down to the detail, right? But you have the right to change anything and go to any reality. So just know that, okay? And I'm sorry again for your loss. That's hard. What's up, LaFleur? Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Howdy, Peter. Maria, any workbooks you might have? I actually need to make one. I should make a manifestation workbook, or I think I want to do I think I'm going to do like a seminar or like a weekend where you guys can come and like listen to me like really get into stuff and going deep. I think making a workbook, I've kind of stayed away from doing courses, but the truth is not everyone can afford a one-on-one coaching session. That's why I offer the email coaching as an option. I think doing courses would be really good for people and beneficial. The truth is like everything is pretty much on my YouTube, but I don't have a lot of long form content on YouTube. So I'm working on getting some of my longer TikToks and bringing them on here, and then the focus is YouTube. I don't know if you guys are noticing, but I'm uploading a lot more. And like this week, I'm gonna film some more videos, and there's like a lot of stuff that I want to do. But I'm also going back to school and doing other things. But my focus is mainly YouTube now. Okay. Oh my God. Do you think manifestation was harder for me when you were healing? Do you mean, LaFleur, like, do I think it's, if you're going through something like that, like grief, is it harder to manifest? Is that what you mean? Because that's a state you're in. So ask that question, and I would like to know more. I love that. Manifesting is my therapy. Good. Just manifest. You know what's the best thing? If you feel like you're not healed, manifest a, you know what you could do, LaFleur, and I've done this, and it's really helped with people that passed away. I would manifest that you're at peace with things in your life. You're at peace with certain people being gone. You're at peace knowing that they're safe in another reality. You're at peace knowing you can change anything, right? Like, you embody that state, you won't grieve anymore. Always manifest like the healing or being healed versus in the process of being healed. But here's the truth. If you need to go to a therapist or certain things need to happen in the 3D, they will, right? Like, it's always going to play out differently for everyone. But I also think, because I tried the therapy route, it did work sometimes, but other times it just like, I didn't like it and I stopped. It was like, I felt like I was going more into the story. And what worked for me was just being at peace with it. And then also knowing that I can change that at any point. And then just like when I miss them, I just entertain them in my mind. Let me see. Oh, I love that. Manifesting is my therapy. I meant like, how do I know I'm doing it right? Feels stupid saying that. How do you know you're doing what right? Being in the flow state or living in the end? You're gonna have to answer that question. Great feedback. I'm actually turned off at my old story. Wait, great feedback. You're welcome, Tina. I'm actually turned off at my old story SP. I now laugh while focusing on the end. Awesome. This is how much I've shifted internally, no matter what came up in the 3D currently. Congratulations, by the way, when you get to a point where like the negative thoughts kind of like roll off you, like you'll start to notice you get stronger and stronger, and that has to do with your self-concept and who you are as a person and who you believe to be. It just gets to a point where you just don't give a fuck. You're just like, okay, there's a negative thought, right? Like when you really get to a place where you're like, negative thoughts don't bother me, I can do whatever, I'm confident as F, and you just keep feeding your self-concept, like eventually it just fades out, and when you no longer react to it, it stops, and then you're able to manifest usually your specific person in. So that's really good confirmation, Tina, that you're like, sweetie, you're like there. I can guarantee you're embodying the state. Your SP will pop in. That's a sign usually that you have embodied the state, meaning you're together and like you've done it. So now it's just about maintaining that and not doubting it and just moving forward and having a good self-concept, okay? Yes, I don't want to be in that state yet. I don't blame you. So I would just, like I said earlier, I would just focus on peace. I think when you lose someone or you're struggling with like, right, like grief or pain, it's always better to be like, I'm at peace. Even any of you that are struggling with, let's say you're struggling with 3D circumstances, right? Or things that have happened to you in the past. You could just manifest. You don't have to revise everything. And you could just revise things with just one freaking sentence, literally. Like, this can work anyway. You can always just say, I'm at peace with the past. I'm at peace with who I am. I'm content as F. And I always get what I want. I don't think about the past. Past doesn't matter to me. I'm at peace with who I am and where I've been, and I'm moving forward, right? That alone is enough sometimes. So there's different ways to look at that, okay? Yes, I keep affirming I'm so happy now. Good. Just keep affirming that your heart feels full, you feel content, you feel satisfied. Remember to put satisfaction in there, because when you don't add satisfaction, sometimes people will like have what they want, but then they don't feel satisfied. There's different ways to tweak that, okay? You're so sweet. Thank you for the advice. You're welcome. Living in the end, sorry. Living in the end is more, I would say, like, there's two ways you'll know you're living in the end. If it's an imaginal scene, okay, so when I'm living in the end and it's an imaginal scene, I'll know that I'm living in the end because the imaginal, but if you don't feel this way, don't be like, oh my God, just because Maria said this and I didn't do this, that means I'm not living in the end. For me, when I'm truly living in the end, I'll notice that I don't have to like repeat it as much in my head. Like I'll just do it once and drop it and then I don't think about it, right? So that's a confirmation when you're able to embody the state. It can be just a feeling. Sometimes it's very visual. Like there's been times where I've lived in the end so vividly that I felt like I lived it and I never had to imagine it again. And then it just boop, popped up into my reality. So usually when you're living in the end, things can be very vivid. The feelings can be intense or they can be mild. You'll just feel satisfied. Does that make sense? And it won't be something that you have to keep doing, but that doesn't mean, remember, anytime you think about, here's the thing. Do you realize by thinking that you're not living in the end prevents you from living in the end? Does that make sense, Peter? So if you're saying, how do I know I'm living in the end? You're confirming that you're not living in the end. So why not just believe that when you live in the end, you live in the end, period, and it's working for you? Do you see what I'm saying? Because if you continue thinking like, oh, if I don't feel all these things, and the truth is you'll feel these things, why not just believe that anytime you embody a state, it's done. You have walked in the new room, my friend, right? Like, because embodying a state is as easy as changing rooms. Walking into a new home, right? Like there's like a whole parable on it in the Bible. I think it's like, my house has many mansions. I don't really sit here and go from the Bible. I'm going to start reading from Neville probably in some of the upcoming videos, but like there are many mansions and you just walked into the mansion you want. Trust that, okay? I stopped any affirming scripting because I realized it felt more like a chore, okay? And felt like I was too focused and not on living. Okay, I focus more on fun in me. That's good. So here's the thing about living in the end. People think that living in the end is supposed to be like a full-time job. It's not, okay? Living in the end is not meant to be a full-time job. It's meant to be fun, lighthearted. It's meant to like feel good and give you the tingles. And even if it doesn't mean it's not working, okay? So like you're supposed to do it like periodically for a little bit and then drop it. Listen, you could drill it into your brain all day, every day, but to me, that's not really living in the end. But that's not the same as robotic affirming, okay? Some people think by like hammering really hard, like, oh, if I just keep at it, but then the energy behind it isn't really living in the end, right? Because the version of you that has it isn't like trying to make it happen. Like you gotta think of the energy behind it too. Just do it the same way you would. But don't think of it as like it's not working. Think of it as it's always working, but like do it more from like a playful place. Don't do it from like anxiety. Don't do it from like needing this to happen because that's the state you're in. My foot fell asleep because I got the dog right here. You guys see Chip? You see little Chip? My baby. He's a good boy. Okay. Let me see. Just at peace with the 3D, so we should make it a challenge for next Monday. We could. What's the challenge you want to make for next Monday? Tell me. Yes, Tina, totally in the knowing. Just being at peace with the 3D. I want you all to be at peace with the 3D. Here's the thing. Do you not realize that the moment you accept what's in your reality and what's going on, that's when you're able to shift? You need to start accepting things for what they are. It's okay. Accepting doesn't mean that you're going to create more of it. This doesn't mean we go stalk. This doesn't mean we go looking for it. This means if we see something we don't like, we're just like, okay, fine. That's what's it there. Doesn't matter. Do you guys realize that like what you're seeing or what you don't want is only 1% of like cajillions and trillions and babillions of opportunities that are out there in timelines? That's just 1%. I wouldn't even say 1%, 0.1%. What we're seeing in our reality is just 0.1% of what's possible. There's like a cajillion other opportunities or other timelines. Opportunities, timelines, same shit. Do you see what I'm saying? So don't get so stuck on what's happening. Just be like, okay, I accept this, but now I'm going to reject this. Meaning, I can't take credit for this, but I thought it was wonderful when he said this. I don't know if you guys know who Tom Kieran is. I think he's wonderful. He has the YouTube called Be Something Wonderful. I periodically like listening to him. He talks a lot from like the Bible and talks a lot from Neville and A Course in Miracles. It's his jam, which I like listening to because I'm at that level now, right? So there's something I heard him say not too long ago, and I can't take credit for this, and I always like giving credit where it's due. He says you're either in denial or you deny, right? Reality. So you can't be in denial about what's going on. You deny it instead. Do you see what I'm saying? Like when you're seeing what you don't like, you should not be denying. You don't deny it. You deny it. You're not in denial about it. Meaning in denial is like, oh, I saw a ghost, but I didn't see a ghost, but I didn't see a ghost. But no, don't do that to yourself, because then here's the thing, when you're in denial or you're trying to pretend like things didn't happen or you're trying to run from it, you're keeping it in existence. When you're fighting something in the 3D reality, even with your thoughts, if you're trying to affirm against it or flip thoughts, when you're fighting against something, you're denying something. Not denying something, when you're in denial. When you're denying, I'm really getting my 2 words stuck today. When you're in denial, when you're running away from something, right? When you're avoiding something, or when you're like fighting something, you're keeping it alive. You're saying, hey, this is still here. When all you have to do is accept it and then deny it. Accept it and choose something better. Does that make sense? So we're not ignorant to the fact that it's there. We're okay with it because we just know, yes, even the undesired circumstance is you. You created that because you're everything at once. You're the bad things, you're the good things, you're the excellent things, and you're the crazy things. Do you see what I'm saying? Meaning crazy like you can't even fathom reality. It's not that you're crazy, okay? Just wanted to be really clear on that. I would never think anyone's crazy. Let me look. Excellent answer. I understand. You're awesome. Thanks. You're welcome. Peter, do you have a manifesting buddy? Oh, looks like we're making manifesting buddies on the lives. Good. Anxiety. Here's the thing. Anxiety is just telling you you're overwhelmed, right? You're anxious about the future. So if you're dealing with anxiety, you just want to make sure you're embodying a state that's calm and at peace and trusts. That knows that your future is going to be wonderful, right? That everything's going to come to you. Because the truth is the future doesn't really exist. Yes, let's do a challenge for you guys to be more at peace with the way things are and accepting things and then choosing better. We'll do that. The accept and choose better challenge, okay? Oh yes, I know him. Tom Karen, I like him. He's a very, I really appreciate his channel. I think he does a really great job, and I think he stands out from all creators. He has the awesome thing about Be Something Wonderful is just that the way he delivers the message, and his whole thing is about understanding that it doesn't define you, and that and really helping you understand that everything is you. And I really appreciate it about him. He really cuts through a lot of the bullshit, and he's great at what he does. And he's different, right? There aren't a lot of people that teach like Tom Karen, which I think is wonderful. Okay, so there's more questions. Yes, I used to be like, wow, SP is being a twat. Then freak out because I reacted. And recently learned that it was quicker to accept. Yes, SP was an ass, but won't be anymore. Congratulations! Yes, that is choosing to respond versus react, right? And then going back into your imagination, choosing something better. When you get into reactive mode and you keep freaking out, you don't mean to, but you're unconsciously calling forth shitty realities. Think about it. If you are trying to manifest your specific person being different and you guys are fighting, you're like, oh, there he is, the asshole again, showing up, being disrespectful, being rude, fuck him, and you just go off on him, guess what? You're feeding more of that reality versus living in the end. It's okay to have a moment. There's nothing wrong with that, but you need to learn to embody a version of you that's calmer, that's at peace, that knows that they're God, right? That doesn't react anymore because you're like, act up, twat, be a twat. Right? It's the same thing you just said here. You could be like, okay, you're being a twat. That's nice. This isn't how it's going to end, buddy. Right? I know better. I'm going to manifest better. They're just a direct reflection of you. That's all it is. LaFleur, haha. Does listening to affirmations overnight while sleeping really work? Been doing it for months, don't see any changes. I think it can. I've had crazy dreams. See, here's the thing, Peter, you just confirmed that you don't believe it works. Do you see what I'm saying? Listen, I like listening to Neville as I sleep, or I like listening to A Course in Miracles. I like listening to very advanced books as I sleep, but I can't even tell you how many times I've put affirmations on and I'll see like the affirmation in my dream and I just giggle. So I used to have really horrible dreams like years ago when I would do that, but eventually they got better. It's just the current state you're in. So if you want to move forward doing night affirmations, I would just say believe that it does work for you and helps you shift, okay? But you don't need night affirmations to shift. It's a belief you have, right? Like people do it because they're reprogramming their mind. There's nothing wrong with it because it's repetition, right? I do believe you do anything enough, it becomes the real reality, right? It's kind of like, I don't want to say it's like hammering it in, it's just repetition. So it's just choosing something new over and over again. But it's up to you how you want to progress. It's not working though because you don't think it is. So if you think it's bullshit, remember, you're never wrong in your reality, especially if that's a predominant belief. NH Kukalan. But Maria, when we are manifesting anything, but we naturally assume something randomly, like for example, I'm going to pass the exam and then it's the opposite. What do you mean? So, you mean when the opposite happens, but then were you really persisting in that end, or did you have... Yeah, but Kuklan, or I might be saying it wrong, we'll just say MJ. MJ, if you were really living in the end of passing that exam, you wouldn't have had the opposite happen. Do you see what I'm saying? You probably have a belief that you don't do good. It could, here's the thing, it might not even be your belief about that specific exam. Maybe it was an essay exam and you think you suck at writing and you're like, fucking written essay exam? I'm gonna just fail this. I suck at writing, right? Like that alone can make you get a bad grade. Here's the thing. You had some kind of limiting belief about that exam. Stronger than you doing well. Okay? Especially in that scenario. And like obviously I wasn't in your head, but why would you even accept the grade? Let's say you got an F, right? Fucking revise that shit, or imagine that you got an A. Think about it. Let's say you got an F, but you imagine you got a B, right? And you don't accept that in your reality. We don't know how it's going to play out. Maybe a week from now, you look at your grade and you're like, wow, I got a B instead? Shit, I'm that good, right? Or maybe your professor's going to come up to you after class and be like, hey MJ, I noticed that you got a D on your last exam. Here's some 50 points extra credit you might want to do. And that 50 extra credit points get you up to like a C+. Do you see what I'm saying? You don't have to accept anything. You don't have to accept anything as true, but you may not have a belief that you can do certain things. It depends on your self-concept. Here's the thing, as I'm talking to you guys and I'm reading these comments, I want you guys to just understand something too. A coach on a live can answer questions, can inspire you, can help you get in the state, help you remind who you are, absolutely. But we can't always answer all your problems in just one little paragraph. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, because this is just written text. It's very different when you're having a conversation with someone. So, I can't always pinpoint 100% what's going on. I can tell sometimes based off of what you're saying, but not everyone's always being truthful in what's going on. I'm not saying that they're like purposely lying, but I feel like sometimes people are in denial of what they're doing. So if you're not being fully transparent, you know what I mean? I'm not saying you're not being fully transparent, but you got to be really real with yourself to really know what's going on. And I think sometimes that's when you need a coach to give you a different perspective, especially if things aren't changing, okay? Let me look. Okay, hold on. There's more of this. Okay. I feel like there are times where okay. But Maria, when we are not manifesting it, okay, we already talked about that. I feel like there are times when I've entered the Sabbath and then I'll stay there for a few days, but then we'll wake up and see a text from SP and be sad. Is it normal to go in and out? Absolutely. We're always in and out of states. And it's okay to fall out of it, right? To feel your emotions, but then you want to get back on the track. Do you see what I'm saying? So you fell out of the state, which is okay. But you want to persist. So I don't know but do you see how you looked for, you didn't mean to look for confirmation, but the fact that you didn't see confirmation in your 3D is what made you fall out of it. When in that moment, you know what would have been the best thing? Just imagining that you did get the text you wanted instead. Do you see what I'm saying? That would have kept you in the end, or just imagining your end scene. But that's getting caught up in 3D circumstances. People get really frustrated when they don't see circumstances in a timely, like really fast, or I don't know. But then you're also not going to see movement if you think there's no movement, right? Because then you just left the state. Really being in the Sabbath and staying in the Sabbath, you'll stay in it. And yes, sometimes you might come out of it, but it's important you get back into it, right? It's just like a horse. You're going to fall in and out, okay? Hold on. I was seeing something about Chip. I was like, what about Chip? Hold on. Sounds like I have some limiting beliefs. That's okay. You can shift them, Peter. What's the big deal? It's not the end of the world if you have limiting beliefs. Everybody has limiting beliefs, right? And remember, we're in and out of different states. So just believe that you no longer believe that stuff anymore. Just believe you fully believe in manifestation. You know anything's possible. No matter what technique you use, it's always going to work for you. Whether it's night affirmations, inner conversations, affirming ones, you know, whatever. That can be just enough for you. Cool pup. He likes mango chips. Haha. You remember that? He likes mango, dried mango. He does eat it. He doesn't eat it as much anymore. I don't really give him that now. I give him like raw, freeze-dried turkey bites. He's a good dog though. Before we knew about manifestation, we naturally assume small things, and then it's the opposite. Really? Yeah, but you didn't understand that you were creating your circumstances then, MJ. Before we knew about manifestation, we naturally assumed small things, and then it's the opposite. But then you weren't really fully embodying it. Do you see what I'm saying? The other one was more real. Here's the thing, like I said, it's one of those things, like, unless me and you were on a conversation right now, I can't, it's a little bit tougher to pinpoint. It's not always exactly what you think it is. It's not always that thought or that one belief. It could be something else. Okay? Maria, how did you get into manifesting? How did you start being aware? So I've been manifesting since I was a kid. I remember this is going to sound weird, but I remember one time there was this boy I liked, and I had imagined in my mind, this was like 2nd or 3rd grade. I'll never forget this. And I always thought it was like a psychic moment, but it wasn't. I manifested it. So there was this boy I liked. His name was Jimmy. He was Greek like me, and I had a big crush on him. And there was this other girl. He was a year older than me. He was not that good looking of a kid. Do you ever look back at like the kids you like? Well, whatever. When you're a kid, you know, you like whoever's at school with you or whatever. He had 2 big, really buck teeth. Now that I think about it, I'm like, what did I see in him? But I was like 9 or 10, so I don't know. Our taste is different when we're younger. But I had a big crush on. I remember I was climbing a fence one time and I was thinking about this guy, and I knew that this other girl, I think her name was Julie or something, had a crush on him too. And in my imagination, I kept imagining her being like, "Do you like Jimmy? Do you like Jimmy?" Like, and then me rehearsing like, "No, what are you talking about?" Right? Like, for some reason, I was replaying this scene in my mind over and over again. Jimmy the Greek, really? Well, what do you want me to do? I'm not saying his last name. Unfortunately, Jimmy did pass away like years ago in a car accident. It's really sad. One time okay, to get back to the story, and then I'll get back to that part. So, I did see that. So I remember sitting on the fence and replaying this scene in my mind, right? No, I'm not shitting you. A day or 2 later, the girl came up to me, Julie, was like, "Do you like Jimmy?" And I was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Because, you know, when you're younger, you don't want to tell anybody your business. And you're secretive about it. And only your good friends know. Yeah, so I manifested that. I remember just being like, wow, how did that happen? And then I started watching shows on like, I don't know who the hell was like a famous psychic back then, but I probably saw some kind of psychic show. Chip might start barking because he saw a dog. He's infamous whenever he sees his buddies outside. His buddy's outside, so he's gonna say hi, but I'm not gonna open the door right now because I don't feel like it. So, yeah, like I've done that since I was a kid, and then that's like one of multiple stories. So, and then when I was in high school, I manifested guys I like, etc. So this has been a long journey, and then I found The Secret. Like everybody, I'm gonna go grab him. Hold on. Will you relax? No, we are not going outside. Ugh. So we're back. Chip likes to project out of, like, did you see how he jumped? He's like a circus monkey. Okay, so let's go back to the so like manifesting for me has come naturally since I was a kid. Literally, I've manifested really cool shit. Like I think I manifested going to Disney World when I was a little girl. I manifested like going to the Enchanted Castle and seeing like the dancing ghosts. Like that was always my dream, and we ended up there. So I always had all kids are imaginative, right? So like I always had a very healthy imagination, and that's how things would manifest, and I didn't realize it. And then I think probably in high school is when it really started to click. And then my first real boyfriend broke up with me when I was like 17, and that broke my heart, and he ended up dating someone else. So I created a third party unintentionally. And then the funny part in that situation was that all these weird events happened that I manifested him back. So after we broke up, I just had this belief that we were meant to be together, right? Like I'm like, I don't care if he's with someone else. We're meant to be together. This is like temporary. And anytime I would get upset and think about it and be sad, I would just live in the end of us already being together. Like I would imagine him with me. If I was out with friends, I would imagine if I was at like a club with my girlfriends or on a weekend trip for like church or whatever, I would just imagine he was there. And that would get me out of sadness. And I remember just doing it in my head so much. And then he started calling me like crazy. He started flirting with me like crazy. Like, I'm not joking you. Like, I just kept living in the end when I would think about him, because I would get sad because I would think about them. And then I remember he called me and told me he missed me on Valentine's Day. And I was like, what is this shit? And I chewed him out because I was like, you're with someone. That's not okay. And whatever. Regardless of the situation, I got him back and we dated for a little bit longer after that. My self-concept was kind of shit. So eventually we broke up, And then there was that whole, back and forth with other guys for a while. I had always been the queen of like makeup breakups, meaning like I was on the on and off again relationships because I knew how to manifest them back. I just didn't know how to keep them, which is obviously much different now. I think, so I was manifesting a specific person before I even knew it was a thing. So I did that with any guy I ever wanted. And this guy in particular, my high school boyfriend, I manifested him. I remember when I met him, I found out he had a girlfriend and I was really upset and I would fantasize about him a lot. And then eventually they broke up and then we started dating. And that didn't take very long. That just took a couple months. And the funny part, I had met her at one point. And I was actually seeing someone else like a couple months before that. So it's just been my whole life. And then you fall into teachers that align with it. I found Jack Canfield's book when I was young, Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul was like really popular back in the day. And then I found The Secret, like everybody, when it got really popular in like 2006, 2007. I was still pretty young. And then, that led to Tony Robbins, and that led to Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, and then eventually to Neville and Florence Scovel and Joe Dispenza, and etc. You see what I'm saying? It's a journey. And now I'm a big A Course in Miracles student. So it's a journey. Definitely a journey, okay? Okay, let me go through these. I can't believe you remember Chip with like the mango chips. That was like on TikTok. Because I used to just go live on TikTok and sometimes on Instagram, just not as much anymore. I'm going to try to jump around though and go live a little bit more, but this will always be like every Monday at 8 p.m. I might change it to like 9 p.m. or 7 p.m. depending on when people are available. I'll probably do a poll and see what time works best for everybody. But yeah. Maria, we already answered that. Thank you for doing this tonight. Very informative. You're welcome, Jimmy the Greek. I really love your content. I didn't know you had a YouTube channel. A lot of people didn't know. I'm gonna have to do like people are so afraid of the TikTok ban. It's like annoying. I just tell people like, it's not gonna get banned. Shut up. I ignore it. I don't get triggered by it. But thank you though, Clover. That means a lot. Maria, do you think it's possible to manifest a specific amount of money out of the blue? Of course. You're gonna get more than what you ask for though. Remember, you don't get just like $500, you'll get like $575. Do you see what I'm saying? Just imagine having like if it's like your bill being paid, just imagine it's your bill being paid or your rent being paid or whatever, right? Do any of you have any other questions before I let you go, my little darlings? This was an interesting live. I know it's gonna be a little bit slow to start in the beginning, but I think eventually it's gonna gain momentum. Do you guys like this time? How does everybody feel about the time? Is it too late? Is it too early? Should I be doing this at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock? I don't know. Because I'm in Central Time, right? I chose 8 o'clock because I figured that's 9 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. Have you manifested a change in appearance? I have. I've gotten rid of wrinkles. I've done a lot of things. I've gotten rid of I've had appearance change. I've made my eyes more green or lots of different things. I love this time. This is a good time. This was awesome. Yeah, time was great. Yeah, I was going to say, I might push it to like 8:30. We'll see. Like just depending, I'm going to do a poll and see what everybody says like for the times, just so that way, because I want to make sure that like enough people can come on and get the lives and stuff like that. So yeah, this will be a common theme every week. This time was fine. I need to get rid of the 11 lines. I would just imagine, so, I mean, you could always do Botox. You don't have to, but just imagine that they're not there anymore, right? I used to have them a little bit too, but I do believe I'm reversing my age. So you can do all different types of things. Anything can be changed, like the size of your nose, like eyes, anything. People change their height all the time. Anything's possible. Honestly, I'm not like, the only thing I've ever really changed is like scars or like, because it's not like I don't like my face. There's been times where I've wished my nose was a little bit smaller, but I'm like, whatever. I could change it, but you know, sometimes you just don't give a shit. You're just happy with who you are. Yeah. Just, I would imagine if you're getting rid of your 11s, just imagine they're not there anymore, right? Why don't you say, like, I look like someone that gets Botox all the time and I don't have to because I have like no wrinkles on my face and I look like I'm 30 or 25, whatever age you're trying to look, 35, 40, I don't know. Like everyone's different, right? You could be like, I'm actually this on paper, but I look a lot younger. My body or my face is that of a 24-year-old, you know, it depends. Most 24-year-olds don't have wrinkles. Well, some do. I've seen some like 25-year-olds that look older than some 35-year-olds I know, or 40-year-olds. It's like crazy, but whatever. That is enough. We have a lot. I have oil, and every time I apply, I say this is taking. There you go. You could do that, or you can even do the gua sha. People swear that gua sha works, so that works too. You could start using a gua sha and be like, "Woo, that got rid of all my wrinkles on my face, and now it's tighter." People are like, "Oh, the gua sha works." No, it's their belief in the fucking gua sha that works. Because some people try the gua sha and it doesn't do shit for them. Some people do the gua sha and they look fucking 10 years younger, right? It's the same like Botox. The reason when you inject Botox into your face and something goes away, you believe it's gonna work, right? You have the proof. I guess it's a placebo. There you go. I would just like you can get $1 gua sha, or you can just like you said. You can apply lotion and be like, this will get rid of everything. Or why not just believe you don't have skin that wrinkles? I did notice your lips got more fuller since I saw you last on TikTok. Did they get more fuller? I'm always manifesting different shit. I've manifested bigger boobs. I'm telling you, I've lost weight. and held on to my boobs. Like there was a point where I was losing a lot of weight last year and I was just like, that's one thing I need to maintain. That's one belief I got to work on. Sometimes my weight goes in and out and I don't like that, but that's okay. We're going to hang on to these big boobies because I love them. They ain't going nowhere. How to embody a state. So embodying a state is just being that person that would have it, right? So you got to ask yourself, what in particular are you trying to manifest, Clover? And then I'm going to let you guys go for the night because I need to make dinner and I need to go work out. What are you trying to embody? Clover. You on the live? Clover, Clover. I mean, it helps if you like tell me what it is. That way I can tailor it more towards you. No, you don't want to say? Okay, we'll just like wing it. All right, let's say you're trying to embody a state of someone who is your desired person. Okay, that works. All right, this is perfect because SP, okay? You want to embody being the version of you that has it. Yes, I'm here. I'm like, Clover, where are you? Because you were being real quiet. You'll notice, here's the thing, and I want to be really honest with you guys. When there's like 40 people or less on the lives, we can have these kind of conversations. But when there's like over 100 people, it ain't going to be like that. It's hard because there's so many comments all the time. But it's nice when it's like this. Clover! Clover! Okay, let's talk about Okay, let's talk about how to embody a state, okay? So the first thing you need to think to yourself, what is the goal with SP? Relationship, marriage, what is it? I know your ass is there now, so I'm expecting you to type something. What's the goal? Marriage, relationship, or living together, fiance, fuck buddy? What is it? What's the challenge? Oh, we're not doing a challenge just yet. Soon. It's for next week. We're gonna do the at peace, like learning to be at peace with our 3D circumstance. Like we'll call it like don't give a fuck challenge, or like you'll just laugh and be like, that's okay, or I'll figure it out at the end. But damn, Clover, what is it? Living together. Okay, thank you. I'm like sitting here, Clover. I'm gonna start like singing your name. Okay, back to, I like having fun on these lives. They're so it's very enjoyable. Okay, back to talking about embodying the state. Okay, you now want to be the version of you that's in a serious relationship where you are living together, right? Committed, all that fun jazz. So when you need to ask yourself, what would the version of me that's happily living with, let's call SP Brian. I'm not saying SP's name Brian. SP might be Lucy. With SP be doing, thinking, and feeling, right? So the version of you that's, y'all's emojis make me laugh. What would the version of me that's, what would you be thinking, feeling, and doing? Like, what does that version of you look like? That version of you is confident. That version of you takes care of yourself maybe. That version of you goes to the gym. That version of you is calm and collected. That version of you doesn't get triggered. That version of you trusts yourself. Like, what does that look like, right? So when you're living in the end, it's not just about that. You need to think to yourself, like, what would that version of me be doing? That version of me would be trusting that it's all going to work out. That version of me is calm. That version of me is, I don't know, maybe buying his and her towels. You can only answer that. Do you see what I'm saying? So you want to do in your imaginal scene, you want to embody that as well as be that person. So when you're trying to embody the state, you need to be that person in the moment, right? So it's like, let's imagine that, I don't know, Bob is my SP, right? And we're living together. You're eating dinner with him, right? So that's a scene you could have. Like, you're imagining like going over how your day was. Babe, how was your day? It was great. Mine too. Oh, we should go like grocery shopping tomorrow. Yeah, I think that would be great, right? Yeah, we should. See, like that's living in the end, embodying a state. You're thinking to yourself, what am I thinking to myself? Like, so throughout the day, you could be like, let's say you're at Costco or I don't know, where you live, Publix, and you're like, I have Publix now. So like, I should get that. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be something you do all day, but like, if you know that SP likes chocolate ice cream and you pass by and you see Breyer's chocolate coconut ice cream in specific, the not vegan type, you're like, oh, I should get that for Brian. Like, I know Brian's gonna like that. And you grab it and you're like, you don't even have to buy it. You can imaginally do it in your mind, right? You grab it and you take it. Or you can actually buy it and be like, oh, Brian's gonna love when he sees these and like eats them in the fridge. I love living with him. I would even say live in the end. Like, so another thing people forget to do is revise their whole day like you're already living with them at night as you're going to bed. That will help too, okay? So I hope that gives you some pizzazz. All right, let me look at the rest of these. Oh, I needed that so bad. Oh, I need this one too, Clover. Don't react. Okay, so the challenge for next week will be respond, don't react. Just be calm. Just be like, oh, that's okay. That twat. Like, it's okay, just look at it for what it is. When you catch yourself getting triggered, okay? And then just imagine what you would want instead. Like, just the best way to accept it. The truth is when shit's not going the way you want, do not fight against it. Just accept it. If SP's like, I want to break up, okay. That doesn't mean you give into the story like, he doesn't love me and it's not working. Okay, it's always best to go along with what's going on and then just embody what you want. I'll tell a quick story really quickly, really fast because my battery on my Mac is like low and I'm not going to see all your questions. So years ago, this is before I really understood embodying the state. I was with my SP and at the time I was very advanced. Like I wasn't quite understanding Neville, but I understood that, you can manifest different things. I remember one time he came over and my person came over and was like, this was years ago though, by the way, and was like, I don't think this is working. And I remember at the time, I had read something in a book that like, if a guy tries to break up with you, that you should just go along with it and then they'll change their mind and they won't want to break up with you, right? And you should just be like, okay, babe, like if that's what you want to do, like I get it, like I can't stop you, right? So I remember him being like, I don't know if this is working. I don't know if I, want to be with you. And then he explained why he felt that way. And I'm just like, well, okay, I understand. I'm not going to say that I'm not hurt, but, I'm not going to force you to stay with me. And in that moment, before I said that, hold on, I forgot a very crucial point to this. Before I said that to him, I was spiraling inside, okay? Like my whole world was crashing down on me. I'm like, fuck, he's going to leave me. Oh, like, right? Like, I'm like, the inside Maria was freaking out. And in that moment, my intuition was like, chill out, bitch. If you don't calm down right now, he's going to break up with you. And then my intuition also told me, remember what you read in that book? If you tell him you're okay with it, he won't break up with you. So in that moment, very calmly, even though my energy inside me was like, I gathered myself and I'm like, you know, babe, I get it. Because he explained why. And then I'm like, I don't want to be with someone that doesn't want to be with me. I'm not going to say I'm not going to be upset, but I understand. I swear to God, his demeanor, we jumped 2 different states, but I also believed in that moment that if I told him that, we would stay together, right? In a matter of minutes, he went from telling me why he didn't want to be with me to why he wanted to be with me, and he understood why I did what I did. That's embodying a state. Do you see what I'm saying? And that is like, I use that example all the time because I think it's a great example. It's like, okay, in the moment, right? It was going on, but I had a choice and I jumped to a different timeline because that was my belief. So always pursue or always believe like that things will work out for you and calm down in the moment and just embody that new state. That's exactly what I did in that moment, even though it may not seem like it. Okay, I'm done for the evening. Good night, good riddance. Not good riddance. Good night. And I hope everyone has a good night, and then we'll see about times. I think we'll keep this time for now, but everybody have a good night. All right. What, Clover? I just saw wow. Bye. Oh, the story? Is that what it was? You guys like the story? Okay, so respond, don't react. So we're responding to everything. Okay. Much love to you guys. Remember, links in the bio. You'll be seeing a lot more content and hope to see you all next week. Bye.